Hey everyone, market update time. Let's start with Bitcoin. This is the chart that I had drawn last time. I was hoping for a deeper wick into the weekly order block, which is this blue zone. We didn't get it. It doesn't mean it's still not possible. We still haven't broken market structure to the upside. In order to do that, we need to get above this 117.5k level. But let's go ahead and draw a new chart really quickly. I'm going to start from scratch. All right. Don't know what the fuck that is. All right, so I was waiting for a sweep of these levels into that weekly order block to go long, or I said I was waiting for a flip of this 115k level, which we are approaching. Okay, as you guys can see, I can go. All right, as you guys can see, once we flipped this, we ran and then we had some trouble, and this basically, this is our this level here, this 120k level is our ultimate boss. But if we are able to reclaim this support or this resistance, then turn into support, just like we did here, I expect us to then play the range. So if this is going to be our range high at the moment, and this is our range low, then if we can reclaim this 115.5, sorry, 115.2, then we're going to play from here to here. Okay, I expect some major rejection from this order block, which is also this boss level. But for now, this looks okay. Now this is my first time checking charts in over about 3 days, so this is all relatively new price action for me. But if we were to take these highs, okay, you could see some rejection possibly coming around this golden pocket, which would be these internal highs that we have here. So if we take out these highs there, then you could possibly see some type of quick rejection. I wouldn't be net short here. We just had a huge move down, from the highs to low, about 14%. And then even from this high down, 8%. People were shorting on support. We got to support. This was a demand zone. People were shorting in this area. It didn't make sense to. Again, I had mentioned that September was going to be a bloody month, but good news is we're getting into Uptember. So I expect October to have decent price action for us to go higher, for alts to run a little bit more. Shit coins like Ski Dog, Face Mask, fuck, whatever the cuss called, aren't going to do well. So get out of those coins and get into actual utility coins. I think memes are dead. I do think the DEX narrative continues to run. It is expected to cool down after, multiple coins running like they did. XPL, Hype recently. Hype is the strongest DEX coin, so you want to focus on utility coins. That's where I think the majority of the market cap will flow, or the profits and the market cap will go into. But in terms of Bitcoin, like the levels that you want to take a look at are going to be that weekly order block from 105 down to 100k level. Losing that 100k level on the weekly would put us into a bear market. For now, we're going to be focusing on the current range, right? So if you're looking for shorts, I'd be looking for shorts in this area up to about 120k. Stop loss placement is going to be a little tough, but you could have a few different ways of playing it. And again, this is a range to play it, but something around the likes of, have a scalp, and then the major short would come around here. Again, I don't expect it to be extravagant, something like this back down to the range lows. Now TP levels, you're going to have to figure that out yourselves. Usually you're going to be at levels of support, right? So something like that, scalp, swing. And, like right now, you can draw this a few different ways. Let's draw Here's one trend line. You can draw this trend line a different way. Okay. Again, a big level of rejection is going to be this trend line wherever it is, depending on how you want to draw it. Right now, the only valid trend line that I see is going to be this one because it has at least 3 touches of um, the trend line being, or for that, a trend line is active. Then you have a diagonal inverse head and shoulders, right? Which I don't like that. It hasn't formed yet. You need that rejection off the trend line. But once this one forms, okay, all in all, you should see some type of rejection around this area. And this isn't me telling you guys to open up shorts. Again, I'd be looking to long pullbacks. I wouldn't be looking to short here. You can look to short when you have hedges, but a lot of people are just net short in an uptrend, on a macro uptrend, which makes absolutely no sense. But if you're looking for shorts, these two would be the areas to look for. All right. Now, on a lower time frame, this area does make sense to short as well. This is one that I am personally taking on a smaller one, only shared in my servers. I'm not going to give that here, but you do have a supply zone, you have an SR area, so, and then again, the downtrend rejection area, you could look to short this for a quick move, and it should only be a quick move. But keep in mind, on a lower time frame, we have broken structure to the upside. So downtrend, here's your lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. We broke above. We have broken structure on a 4-hour, putting in a potential higher high here, go back down, maybe go into there, reject again. So this is going to be a very scalp type of play. But again, it is valid. It's there if you guys want to take it. But you guys should not be net short here, in my opinion. Okay. Now, let's go to ETH. This is something I wanted to cover last week. I just got busy. And again, I'm not in the mood to be making videos. I don't really care about content creation anymore. I don't care to post anymore. I just do it here and there. But we're going to take a look at previous cycle, right? So we had the first rejection from this area. We can't call that resistance yet because it was the first rejection. We had the second rejection. Now we can call this resistance. We broke out. We flipped it to support. We ran a little bit more, right? We held it, and then we lost it. We put in a lower low. Here's your last higher low, higher high, lower low into a lower high. Same fractal currently playing out, right? First rejection. This was previously an SR point. It was support. We lost it. So we turned this into resistance, confirmed here. Rejection, rejection, breakout. There is your flip, just like we did here. And right now, we are holding this level. Okay, so this is a perfect clean retest of previous breakout point. Now, I mentioned this in my previous videos as well. This weekly demand zone was the area to bid. This is where I personally had my DCA levels. I still have DCA levels going back down to 3350-ish, but this is the weekly demand zone that needs to held, and that was a perfect area to long, all right? Retests, SR points, demand zones, those are the confluences that you want to get into when you get into a trade. So is this over? No, but look, if we close down below this previous higher low, just like we did back here, okay, and put in a lower low, then you're looking for that next lower high to short. At that point in time, market structure has been broken for ETH, and you're looking for shorts more than longs. Same goes for Bitcoin. Once that 100K level is lost on the weekly, that's when you are going to look for that next lower high to possibly look for shorts. All right. So right now, ETH looks clean. As long as we are above this blue box, we should make that next leg up. I can possibly see that this is beginning of the fourth wave. 2, 3, 4, maybe one more wave higher. Now, this is our new all-time high, right? I don't think we're going to get to, 7,000, 8,000, 9,000. I think we're going to top around this area, around anywhere from probably 53 to 5,800. I think that is the top for ETH. That would coincide with the top for Bitcoin, and that's going to come sometime next year. I do think that Q4 is going to be green, and excuse me, and we should focus on making money and being net long. Doesn't mean you can't have shorts, but you should be net long going into Q4. Okay, so any dips into the blue box, especially this red one, is for buying. If we lose this weekly low, that's when you're going to cut. But I like this candle. This looks like a perfect retest and a bottom being put in. Now let's go to a lower time frame. Look at that. I drew this in one of the videos. Beautiful. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at the 4-hour. Okay. So currently we are at resistance on the 4-hour. Okay. If we are able to reclaim this, then we have reclaimed this major level of resistance, and that would be looking for longs. But for now, I would love if we get a pullback. I don't know how deep we get it. There's a few ways to play it. The consolidation area here is better. This is where I'd be looking to long, but for scalps, this would also be a quick scalp here. Stops below the low and then targeting hopefully higher. Now, key levels for ETH. Okay, you have supply zone. These are the two biggest levels for ETH. All right, so possible shorts can be taken here. You have a supply zone, so probably, and again, if things can change as days go by, but let's say over the next week, this is the levels that are going to matter. The longer this takes, everything does change. Keep that in mind. Okay, perfect golden pocket entry around the beginning of the supply zone. DCA within the box, and then take profit at levels of support. Okay, this is going to be the major level. If we get above this level, then we are going for that 53, 5,500. Okay, so something like that. All right, those are the long areas, and this is the better the more the strongest confluence would come around 40, 50-ish to take a long. Let's take a look at Sol. Sol at 3-day SR here. Okay. Above here, we should continue to run. The psychological level of 250 is still that level to flip. Okay. But we did take out these lows here. We bounced perfectly from this demand zone. If we can get above 214, and the 3-day closes in a day and 3 hours, but if we get above, then I can see us pushing into that 250 one more time. Now, we got to take a look at structure here. Okay, so I'm going to draw a trend line really quickly. Okay. So Uptrend still intact. We have not lost it. If we lose as we, day by day we go higher, the trend line gets higher as well. But if we lose this trend line, then we can start worrying a little bit about, movements down to 150, 175-ish, right? But if we can reclaim this SR, then you can possibly target a move back up into this range high area. Now we can draw some fibs, and we can see that this area has a lot of confluence for shorts, so shorts can be taken in that area. Break it down on a 4-hour time frame. We have broken the 4-hour. Well, we are about to break it if we can close the 4-hour above here. Okay, so if we go to a line chart, low, high, low, right? Uptrend, but we still haven't broken this downtrend. If we can close this 4-hour above, then we have broken market structure. And then again, all we're looking at is going to be that area for shorting or taking a hedge short. Okay. Right now, if we get a dip, then the dip to get and to long is going to be this area of 4-hour consolidation, demand zone, and something around the lines or likes of this. Okay. My chart looks like a fucking Skittles pack. Let's go to XPL. So obviously the talk of the town has been this hype Aster and then AVNT, Avantis, or whatever the fuck it's called. But as I mentioned on my Twitter, that the chart looked like it had not only a 1-hour bearish div, but it also had a 4-hour div as well. So here was when I had posted that we had a bearish div, highs, while RSI making prices making higher highs, and RSI was making lower highs there. And then you had the 4-hour, which I think I have it drawn. Yeah, here's the 4-hour. Okay. Price making higher highs while RSI making lower highs. Okay. So this is the exact same two charts that I posted on my Twitter. You guys could have taken a look at it, and it bounced exactly from the demands or from the order block. But back to this 1-hour chart, you have clear levels here. Okay, so you have the range low around $1.12. It'll be the third touch of that level. We already established support, so you can take a long there. But if that we end up going back down to this level of consolidation, this is where you want to load up. And I don't know how high this coin can go. It's been shilled everywhere. But this is going to be your spot play. Okay. If we get that low. But I think that we can go and take out these range lows and play back to the range highs. This was a deviation of the highs. We turn it into resistance. And then looking for range lows around $1.12. Okay. Now let's take a look at hype. Okay. So don't mind these. Something I just shared in my class. Let's get a clean look here. So we have broken structure. Lows, highs, lows. We went above, made a higher low there. So this looks good. You can draw this and potentially say like, hey, we have a bear flag forming, but I don't think that this is going to be that case. We actually perfectly, here is the neckline for the inverse head and shoulders. We broke out. You could have longed the neckline, and this continued to run higher, right? The technical targets of this inverse head and shoulders from on the 4-hour chart comes around 50, 150-ish, all right? But let's take a look at the levels that we need to get above first. So on the daily, we have clear resistance here at 49.67-ish. You could possibly take a short there with a very tight stop loss. Now this is going to be extremely risky because Hype being the strongest DEX coin, um, it's very volatile and putting in some decent moves. But looking at this, higher high into a higher low, right? Higher high into a lower low. This has broken structure. So going back into the previous higher high would put in a bearish Quasimodo, which could give a move. And in the event that we have some type of cataclysmic dump, I was hoping that we would get there before, but 36 down to $30 is the buy range for Hype. Above this blue box, which we have failed to do so, and flip it, you should see this run to make new all-time highs. Okay, we're getting another test of this downtrend resistance. Well, it was an uptrend. We lost it. We turned to resistance there. We're having another touch there. So this could, if we can get back above, this would be a deviation of this trend line support. And then hopefully we reject briefly above blue line. This runs probably to new highs. Okay. Looking for longs. As long as we don't fall below this level, we are good. So I'm going to keep that in. Purple. As long as we are above 43.55, we are good. Now you could play this order block if we get it again. It was tapped perfectly. But in the event that we do, okay, this would be your setup. Okay, lose this low. This will probably be like a 4-hour stop loss, soft stop loss. And for those that have never used soft stop losses, if you don't know how to use it, don't use it. But this would be most likely the play. If we cut this into resistance, then you can go ahead and cut. Right? Again, very volatile coin. I'd probably play this on spot if you don't want to deal with the volatility, but that would be the potential area to go long. Okay, because lose that will probably go down to like 42.5 down to $40, which again could be another possible area for a double bottom long. Overall, though, I do think the market goes higher. In October, Sui, a very strong contender to continue running. Okay, we have a potential double bottom here. Neckline flipped to support. Still in a downtrend, but if this can get above 340, then it's off to the races. As you guys can see, every time we have flipped 340 into support, we've had a decent reaction from it. Same thing applies here. If we can get to 340, then most likely this runs up into this area of supply, which you could look for shorts there. All right, but again, this isn't a net short market. Okay. Let's just do this. Okay. This is still in a falling wedge and a macro uptrend. Right. So here is your lower low, higher low, and again, putting in a higher low. So nothing has been lost here. Technical targets of this falling wedge can actually be upwards of, once breakout happens, depending on where the breakout is. But let's say it's here and it's going to be this area, which is going to be strong levels of resistance. So, from the breakout's about 31%, but from here it's around, 40. So all in all, I think that SUI is going to be a very strong coin in the coming months, as long as we don't lose this low here. But again, you can draw a lot of confluences here. There's the trend line, still in an uptrend. As long as we hold, I don't want us to see those lows being taken out again, but there may be one or two fake outs from now up until November where you have giant wicks like this. And what I always say to people is, if you are a spot trader or a leverage trader, always keep some discount bids just in case. You never know when we're going to get, Dementia Dawn saying something stupid and, scare the markets, or another war news from our Jew friends in Israel to come and bomb, right? So keeping some discount bids is always beneficial in the event that we do have it. Now, I'm not talking about 5% dips. I'm talking about like 15 to 20% dips on your favorite coin. As you guys saw, ETH went down like 30%. And if you had those deep bids, you're up at least 10 to 15% from that area. So I recommend having discount bids always. It's going to lock some capital up, but you never know. Okay. So that's it for me. I will see you guys when I do.